All right, thank you very much, Mitch, and welcome to everyone that's online. I sincerely appreciate you joining us today. I'm going to take a minute here and just talk about our initiative, where we are in Fishers. I'm going to share a screen and hopefully not too many slides for sure, but I guess a little bit of the enabling this storytelling. So at the IoT Lab, we started about 2 years ago. So we're going to talk about the lab for a little bit and then move into some interactive demos with WPR services. So with that, as Mitch said, I'm Jason Pennington, grew up in Evansville, went to IU, IUPUI, and Purdue. So I'm kind of that house divided on my own. Spent 20 years working for an awesome company based out of Greenwood, a Swiss company called Anderson Hauser, and really can't appreciate the opportunity I had to learn and learn industry, everything from visiting customers to really working in Six Sigma environments and training in the past. As we, through time, I had a really unique opportunity with a serial entrepreneur named John Wexler, who started Launch Fishers. Launch Fishers is the state's largest co-working site, responsible for well over 100 million in venture capital. But over time, they really realized that there's a lot of interesting innovation that really doesn't belong in a normal office space. So along with some local partners like Flexware Innovation and Clear Object in the city of Fishers, as well as IEDC, we launched the Indiana IoT Lab. So we are a nonprofit funded by sponsors, by members, really a connected technology focus aligned to make things, move things, grow things here in the state of Indiana. Today, we're about 120 members and 20 companies. And our story, so we, again, Indiana IoT Lab, we're infrastructure, we're an environment that brings together this emerging Internet of Tech, Internet of Things sector, really with a big focus on innovation and collaboration. We, really kind of pride ourselves on helping entrepreneurs and startup companies evolve, develop, and really translate their ideas, whether that's research or simple ideas, into something that's a little bit more of a tangible offering. And then one thing that really makes us unique is I'll say that we bring together existing companies that have a very strong industry acumen and pedigree in the industry, whereby they can complement and collaborate to really produce industry-ready solutions. So as Mitch would suggest, there is a very interesting opportunity to explore startup technologies here, but we also have some very industry-ready companies working out of the lab. So as a community, and I really believe that's what we are, these are of course pre-COVID events, but we have a good opportunity to bring together this community and leverage one another and work towards the Internet of Things to bring together some of these interesting ideas to our industries. Every year we support a project called the State of IoT, and it's really a sampling, if you will, a summary of, what are some of the interesting startups, techs, emerging tech, and even university research emerging around the state of Indiana. So kind of that play on words there, the State of IoT, we have a fantastic story to tell in the state, and certainly in a 1 and 1 is 3 kind of model. When we all really work together, I think we are really world class here in the state. We have a little piece of that. We are a little piece of that. So one thing that we do with respect to the startup companies that are based out of the lab is we provide infrastructure. In some cases that's bring your brilliant idea and we'll surround you with laser cutters and CNC machines and 3D printing. We're in the process of bringing in injection molding tooling to the facility now, and all of the things that you would expect to develop connected products on. With that, some of our companies are already in the process after less than 2 years of scaling up to where we're making batches of 50, 100, even one of our members is in the 1,000-piece arena now. So, taking a little bit of our history, our acumen, we built a development and manufacturing studio to support some of these members in a way that not only can we produce here, but we can also develop products further around this manufacturing space. So you'll notice we don't necessarily use Industry 4.0 or 3.0 or 5.0 or whatever a lot now, but we really speak to the connected factory. And what does that mean? We take a step back into some of the other prototyping and activities we have, I really appreciate this article because it talks about a lot of the roadblocks to bringing Industry 4.0 to the floor. So I like this because it speaks to innovation, efficiency, agility, and risk as kind of cornerstones for what that might look like should you bring your factory to more of a connected state. So certainly there is a case for innovation, but we don't want to have really a case for innovation supersede what is the real business case. Efficiency, productivity, safety, some of these terms, wildly important use cases for us to apply some of this technology to. In other words, from a startup mindset, we need a beachhead to do something really interesting that perhaps some larger companies aren't doing, or to be able to create something that's extremely powerful in the market. Agility. So we've leveraged a lot of our own past experiences. So for example, some of our members are remote workers for larger companies. So robotics firms, additive firms, big data and machine learning firms who just happen to need a place to work as their home office is somewhere else. So with that, we have a variety of use cases in this room that we sit in today. So the sake of designing things for agility and really being able to promote fast changeovers or adapted to use case or exploring technologies is something that we've designed into this facility. And then certainly risk. One of the things that is so cool, and I'm so appreciative of our environment being surrounded by established firms like Flexware Innovation and C-Spring and Outside Source and InDesign, as an example, is understanding that a lot of our potential customers and the customers that come through here, while they appreciate a lot of early stage technology, they may not be willing to, from a risk standpoint, accept some of this new technology into their plants for a variety of reasons. So we've taken an approach to that to understand that, if we can create an environment that not only helps our companies produce their thing, we can also leverage that environment to explore these technologies and understand how do we help each other, share resources, share labor even, to help produce on behalf of some of the common startups here. So in other words, somebody's really good at designing, somebody's really good at software writing, somebody's really good at building. What we then do is offer these baker racks, if you will, to some of the companies here so that they may load up some of their inventory, bring it into a very small scale manufacturing environment where we can both print parts, create additive solutions, augmented reality solutions, everything from as simple as flashing software to barcode scans and label printing out of this environment. So to take something that's a little bit low fidelity and give it a professional look and feel that is repeatable with a quality standard is something that we've taken a lot of pride in this room. With that, we do a lot of events and just learning on our own. One of the things that we've been able to do on our own is create kind of a fun platform that we just simply call DevSpace. So DevSpace is just a very modular and functional production environment for us. It simulates a production environment as if we're picking and kitting parts. So it's a simple breadboard and a housing that we can add plugs to, batteries to. We can quickly and easily make it a thermostat. So we kind of got this idea as a little shout out to Honeywell, who a lot of people maybe don't know that Honeywell was an Indiana company back in the day making thermal controls. We think those kind of stories are cool to tell, but in a way we've been able now to adapt quickly so that we have engagements with industry. We have something very quick that we can build a vision or a voice or some advanced machine learning product with and do simple labs here to understand what does a good data collection look like? What does a good model look like? We can walk this device through a production process and even integrate QA and serialization and barcode scanning. So perhaps not a product that you want to see in your factory, but imagine now, some of your employees who are willing to sit down and say, oh, we've heard about that we need an AI strategy. I don't even know what that means. Here's a place where we can come, build something quickly, open a TensorFlow model, Google Collaborative notebook, and start to go through what does machine learning actually mean? What does it look like? What does a data set look like? More importantly, how can you break it? What's going to make it not perform for you? So in our own curiosity to be able to learn and play with these technologies, we've really now augmented this room, this facility for our members in a way that makes it safe and approachable and informative. So not everybody, for example, can be an expert on resin printing. So we've added interactive augmented reality. If you see the yellow yield sign exclamation points above some of our equipment, this is a technology that's spun out of WPR Services. Chris, who will speak after me, is very well versed and has a long history in industry. So we've been able to think, you know, what's important, what helps us maintain these machines, what would be an expectation for our member to help us keep these machines running. So here's the MSDS sheet, a playbook on the machine, a getting started guide, whatever we want to attach to those labels in a very virtual way and allow you with our own tablets to scan the machine via augmented reality and get the information about that machine. We've also been able to color code bends and do some things around inventory management here that's conducive to the flexibility of our members. So in the bottom left, for example, an augmented reality overlay on some of our equipment. In the middle is a 3D scanning, inline 3D scanning and metrology. We've also been able to use for reverse engineering for the sake of making a jig or a die that we wanted to mass produce. We've been able to reverse engineer it with the help of one of our members, Grant Michael, from a company, Shining 3D. Some pretty awesome technology. On the bottom right, the younger guy, I have to give credit to Conexus. This is a Conexus intern that's been working with us for the summer, and he's been an absolute rock star. So he is modeling Google Glasses developed with WPR Services, and we've been then able to augment that with some machine learning based on vision in the background and actually creating models using TensorFlow with Google's AI toolset to understand what can be done and what does good look like, and perhaps improving our confidence intervals in a very real world tangible use case. So now as we move kind of from our daily activities to those industry partners, we often get a chance you know, with some of our experienced customers as well as just curious parties to come into the IoT lab. And I think kind of anecdotally, one of our very good corporate subject matter experts, you know, would tell us the story of the next person that walks in and tells me I need AI, I'm going to scream and kick them out of my office. And all too often we hear some of these stories of, you know, AI as the buzzword, or we bought an ERP system and collected data, but now we realize we don't have the ability to actually execute anything. You know, and going even back to the early days of IoT, I know from my past at Inderson Hauser, we had companies who bought hundreds of wireless temperature sensors and put them all over for this facility, and they really didn't find anything other than a larger cloud data bill. So that's where we start to talk about here the case for innovation versus the business case. And I think in the context of this picture from my old days in manufacturing, we would call this the workaround. We had absolutely a great reason to put this gate where it is, but you know, ultimately our employees didn't buy into our idea. There wasn't really an incremental gain in our productivity or actions, so our people found a workaround. And in the greater context of having a standardized work process, something that we can train to, improve to, and measure, we've lost all the intention behind this innovation before we ever really were able to get the benefits of it. So that's where we've gone back with some of our more experienced partners, not only from coaching our own internal startups, but working with some of our external clients in this collaborative mindset. We've created here an atmosphere where we take this spark of intention, and intention is one step above the idea. And we kind of believe the idea sometimes is the commodity. You know, intention starts that idea in motion, but we need that spark. We need a methodology to create an execution strategy out of that intention. Otherwise, it doesn't exist. So really what our model here is to talk about a lot today is discovery and culture. And we think that leads a lot to creating some very positive outcomes with technology in your facility. So we start really when we have opportunities to engage with the what. So the what, that's your thing. What do you make? What is your product? What's your service? What's your offering to your customers? How you do it. And that's what differentiates you from anybody else. It's your quality system. It's the lean manufacturing. it's your status amongst your peers in the market. The one thing that's difficult though is, why do you do it? Why would you invest in advanced manufacturing? Why do we expect our employees to accept this technology and hope that it generates an outcome? So what we want to do in a facility like this, when we're hosting engagements, is really to come a lot more with a context. What's your thing? How do you do it? How do your customers use your thing, whether that's a service or a product? And more importantly, the why. Finding that deeper why in a context that makes this advanced technology, advanced manufacturing, associated with you and your processes and your goals. Otherwise, it's just tech. Tech for the sake of tech does nobody any good. It's just something else we can buy and figure out, what can we do with it. So our services offering, if you will, to the Indiana manufacturing sectors looks a little bit like a program. And this program essentially consists of one day, our lab, your people in a small group now to respect the current state that we're in. And when we say our lab, that basically means the upfront discovery. We want to understand more about you and what some of your understandings are and some basic technologies or ideas. We will put together a team of both subject matter experts as well as people with heavy industry acumen. We will bring you in and we'll really talk in a discovery phase about our opportunities with you. So that means both problems that exist in your facilities today, as well as opportunity areas. We can perform some hands-on lab, hands-on learning, even have companies that have brought some of their things to our lab so that we can really create some context around what it is they're dealing with. From there, I think once we understand these opportunity areas, we chart a course. And that charting a course looks like, what are some technologies that may be able to apply to the problem set or opportunity set that we discover together? So that's our mapping, that's our chart a course. Our second engagement looks kind of like a 1 to 2 days, your site. So that's similar set of people that you've met with at our lab, but that's also your people. And that's really kind of now the definition stage. So we look to define, how are things today? What does your process look like today? How do the people, operate in your processes today? And what is that potential to be? So the as is and to be. Nobody wants to invest time, money, and resources into a project if there's no outcome on a project. So in other words, what can we do? What are we doing? And how could we possibly integrate this technology into the things that we already do today? Our deliverable there is the scoreboard. So what's that scoreboard look like? And that's unique. That's unique to your plant, your context. Maybe that's an ROI, maybe that's a reduction in cycle times, maybe that's a more efficient value stream map. What's the scoreboard for your facility? We need a target. So that's where we kind of define what is the target. Third step here is what I think a really 2 to 4 week virtual together program, where we think about now, have we developed a scoreboard or a problem statement, an opportunity statement that we can use as a measurable? What does that adoption look like in your facility? Will the people accept it? Do we need some black hats? In other words, who are the trainers, the subject matter experts that have buy-in at all ranks of the company? Are they going to be the go-to people when anybody else on your team needs support for this technology? It's kind of a very hands-on way to think about something like change management. Our deliverable there kind of becomes the playbook. So a playbook, maybe that is preparing you for an integration. Maybe that's preparing you for a more educated RFP. Maybe that's preparing for the next step in this technology evolution at your company. Why we have the light bulb moment icon with the arrow looking forward. One of the best outcomes we've had here has been in the world of sales. How have we taken a corporate sales team and really gone through a process in the context of their customer to deliver the idea? We now see our opportunity fitting into the customer's process, and we have an ability to sell something, for example, that you can't see or touch. It's a little bit more of a consultative design thinking session. The other outcome that we've had here that's been really cool is a very educated now RFP, whereby a customer that we've had to come through here really map out some processes, understand technology. They've been able to call their preferred vendor and say, hey, we would really like to explore a vision-based system for machine learning in the context of our palletizer. These are some things that we've done to prepare for that. When can we meet? And now really giving the power back to these manufacturers in Indiana to take more control of adopting this advanced manufacturing strategy versus, perhaps being left on the outside. And with that, we think a very good deliverable here is a customized education of what's possible with this tech. So with that being said, I'm going to prepare to transition this hopefully over to Chris Harris, who's standing by live.